You are young. If you are running a company, pay your taxes properly. Do not do any fraudulent activity in it. Boss says even if the customer asks for tiger's milk, we should get it for them. Whatever the customer asks, we should not say it is not there. When we delivered to the customers, they were happy because we will offer the products at a lesser price. This helped great for the business to pick up. Even if a customer gives an order for a 10 rupees rubber tube for a lab, he will ask us to deliver it in a motorcycle. He advised us that we should not to see the cost and that the goodwill is very important. At that time when I used to go out of station, I used to sign and give blank checks to my manager because suddenly there might be a need to give a check. So I will give the signed blank check to the manager or accountant. Then I thought, why should I sign and give? Instead, I can give them the authority to sign the checks itself. So I gave them that authority to sign checks. If you start a business before you are 30, the chances for your business to grow big are higher because you will not be scared and will have a risk-taking mentality. I come from a purely agriculture background. We did not have girls at home mother. It was only us, 5 brothers, my father and mother. My mother generally worked in the fields during harvest time, planting season and seeding period. She used to be completely busy in the fields. So at that time we used to cook and each of us used to do all other household work. As a child, I started studying first standard in a school in the nearby Kokrayanpete village, which is about 1 kilometer away from our place. It was a wonderful life. The school would get over by 4:30 p.m. After coming back home, I would tend to the cattle near the field with the help of other people working there. This was my routine. Due to this, I became responsible at a very young age. Another important thing is the helping nature of the villages. That quality made a major impact in my mindset. When we are in a village, we learn how important it is to be helpful to each other. When living in the city, many times we don't even know our neighbors. In a village, it is not like that. They stand for each other in good times and bad. Anytime, 24 hours a day, they will be willing to help. It is an integral part of village life. When I was studying SSLC, that is 11th standard, about 2 months before my final exams, my father passed away. My eldest brother was working in a paper mill as a skilled labor. My second eldest brother was running a petty shop in our village. My next brother was running a powerloom spare parts shop in Pallipalayam. After my father's passing away, my brothers discussed what to do, and they decided to enroll me into a college and that my other brother will take up farming in our village. I joined for PUC in Erode. At that time, I used to go by cycle daily to college. During the last 3 months of PUC, I rented a room there to stay and study. Until I joined PUC, I never even wore any footwear. I wished to study BSc because I thought if I completed BSc, I could get a chemist job in the Sheshashayi paper mill, which is about 5 kilometers from my village. At that time, that was my aim. After completing PUC, even though I scored good marks, I did not get a seat in the college at Erode due to some reasons. Then I was enrolled in a college in Coimbatore. I studied BSc there. I was very studious at first, but as time passed, I became more involved with friends and my focus on studies reduced, but still finally I passed in first class. I was doubtful of myself, so when the results were published, I first checked for my name in the second class list. My number was not there, so I informed my family that I failed the exams. My family members, my mom and brothers were dismayed on hearing that I failed. Then I thought, let me check in the first class list, but I was pretty sure my number will not be there in the list because my mediocre performance in the previous semesters. So I thought my number will not be there, but my number was in the first class list. That made me proud. Then I thought hard as it looked like I will not get a job in the paper mill. I tried to get the job, but it did not seem to materialize. So immediately I wrote a letter to my cousin brother who was running a scientific company in Madras. He was my father's elder brother's son. I wrote an inland letter stating that I had completed BSc Chemistry in first class in PSG Arts College and requested him to somehow get me a job in Madras. After I sent the letter, within 3 days, my brother replied through another inland letter asking me to come to Chennai with my bed and baggage. I left home the very next day with my certificates and clothes in my luggage. For 10 days, I accompanied my cousin to all the places he went. Then I got a job in a cosmetics company that manufactured kumkum and kajal. My salary was 150 rupees. The 150 rupees was okay as I was staying at my cousin's place and did not have any major expenses other than lunch, bus fare, and buying new clothes. I was trying to manage. Sometimes I used to write letters to my family asking for money. They advised me that since I am earning in Madras, I should try to manage with my salary. But they used to send some money as well. However, I didn't like working in that company. Most of the employees were women. They did the mixing, grinding, and packing. It was very difficult to get work done by them. By nature, I was very shy, didn't have confidence, and had an inferiority complex too at that time. I didn't know what to do and was hesitant. Then I told my brother that I was planning to quit my job. He said, "Don't quit now, but first get another job and then quit." At that time, a job advertisement was published in the newspaper looking for a BSc Chemistry graduate to work as a salesperson in a cosmetic company. The reason the company published that ad was because if a company applies for a cosmetic license that comes under drug license, they would need to employ a BSc Chemistry graduate to apply for the license. So, to apply for the license, they needed a BSc Chemistry graduate to sign an endorsement. So, they hired me. For this job, they had advertised in the Hindu newspaper. I attended the interview as did many other people. Since I had some scientific knowledge and could talk about it, I was selected as one of the 5 shortlisted candidates. We were hired as technical sales executives and given training for a month. The next month, I was sent to Trichy to establish a lab in a company. On the way, I faced an issue. I was given some chemicals to take along with me. About 9 packages. In the train, I was traveling second class, and the boxes were placed here and there. Without knowing, someone had kept the chemical package on the top. One of the packages that had acid in it started leaking. When the train was near Dindivanam, the person sitting below the package started shouting that he was having a burning sensation. It was because of acid leak. It became an issue, and the police were notified. I had to deboard the train. Then, after enquiry, they found that it was a mistake and I was allowed to leave by the next train. During this incident, I called my boss and told him about the issue. He told me to handle it myself. He did not give me any support. So, after completed the assigned work, I came back and resigned the job. After resigning, I decided to go back to my village. I thought that the city is not suitable for me. I told my brother that I was unwell and returned to my village. After going back to the village, I said I was unwell and had to say something to reassure my family as they were upset. They told me that they had pinned all their hopes on me and that they thought I will earn money, but now I have come back in vain. They all advised me a lot and sent me back by train the next day. I came to Chennai and told my cousin brother that my family scolded me a lot. My cousin had a chemical purification company behind Arun Hotel. The factory was also located there. I worked there for 1 year, after which I was transferred to the head office, which is a scientific company. Most of the workforce there were youngsters from various villages who had come to the city to work. We would open the office at 8 a.m. and didn't bother about the closing time. On Sunday too, we would work half a day. I had the office keys. I was responsible for opening the office and locking up at the end of the day. I was quite young, about 21 at that time. Other than business, I did not concentrate on anything else. At that young age, when you are eager to learn, to get such an opportunity, to learn was a great chance for me. My boss was such an inspiring person. He would say that if the customer even asks for tiger's milk, we should get it for them. That was his principle in business. Whatever the customer asks, we should not say it is not available. He also said customer delivery is very important. Even if a customer gives an order for a 10 rupees rubber tube for a lab, he will ask us to deliver it in a motorcycle. He advised us that we should not see the cost and that goodwill is very important. He said that this small sale could lead to a bigger business contract in the future. So I gained a lot of experience and business knowledge by working with him. I got married in 1980. My wife also is from my village. I got married in March and my son was born in December. I went home to my village to see my son. There was no cell phone at that time, so I received the message of his birth only later. I went home the very next day to see him. At that time, we discussed about my salary, which was 650 rupees at that time, about how I would manage on this salary, as I had to pay the house rent and run the family with this salary. Now I have a child too. This was my major thought. My brothers also spoke to me. They suggested that I should think about starting my own business. So I told my boss that I would quit in March and was going to start my own business. He asked me what business I was planning to do. I had decided that I should not do the same scientific business as my boss. So I informed him of my decision to do commercial chemical business. He was okay with it. I used to use a Java motorcycle when I was working for him at that time. After quitting, I did not have a motorcycle. I had to travel by bus. I used to meet many people who I know, like our suppliers, when traveling by bus. They used to ask why I was traveling by bus. I used to tell them that it is okay. But I used to feel a bit upset as I did not even have a motorcycle. Then I went to my village to borrow money, which I got after signing a bond. I then come back to Chennai with the money. We finalized a place to start the business. The owner asked for an advance of 500 rupees and rent of 175 rupees. The advance was 3 months' rent. I asked him for his permission to install a PP phone, which he permitted. I went and paid 500 rupees as deposit for sales tax. The owner told me to take the place and asked me to print the letterhead with the address. I printed the letterheads and only after that he sent it for SNDA. With the money I borrowed, I thought how to spend it wisely and establish a company with minimum expense. My friend took me to Murray & Co. It is a place where every Sunday they would sell used and old things like sofas, typewriters, tables and all other such office items. I went there and bought a typewriter, tables, chairs, a cupboard and a tricycle. We then started the business on March 6th. My boss inaugurated it. I spent about 12,000 rupees for all these items. I also paid the telephone deposit. While doing all this, I subscribed to the Chemical Weekly, a weekly magazine. You can get a lot of business inputs from the Chemical Weekly, such as the places where you can get specific chemicals. It would be delivered every week. At the first itself, we found an order from Amurdanjan for 1 barrel of acetone, which was for rupees 2,800. We supplied it and got a profit of 300 to 400 rupees. The first month we did sales of about 23,000 rupees with a net profit of 3,000 rupees after all the expenses. So I gained a little confidence as I had grown from a salary of 650 rupees to now earning 3,000 rupees profit. Then I started traveling regularly to places like Erode to get orders from people I know and to Coimbatore. The first year sales amounted to 12 lakh rupees with a profit of about 1 lakh. I managed to give back a small debts I had. At that time, a friend of mine took me to an auditor, Mr. Alexander, who was from Kerala. I was 27 at that time. He said, "You are quite young. If you are running a company and you want to develop it into a big organization, then you should pay taxes properly. Do not try to cheat in that. But if you only want to earn money, there are many ways for that also. But since you are young and enthusiastic, it is best if you pay the taxes correctly. Then he saw the year's accounts and was very surprised about me earning 1 lakh rupees profit without any capital. He was very happy about that. Then he did the auditing and calculated that I had to pay a tax of 8,500 rupees. I said, okay, sir, we will pay. At that time, my salary would have been below 8,000 only. But that year, I paid a tax itself of 8,500 rupees. We have followed this policy always. We decided we would not sell any product without a bill. We were determined that we should not do anything wrong related to tax payments. This delayed the development of our organization as we made sure that we met all compliance regulations every time. The team would read through all the laws and regulations and ensure that we are compliant with them. It was going on like this. We did not have any agencies at that time. In those times, the chemical market was a controlled market, a seller's market. Manufacturers were less. To import the chemicals, you had to pay 350 times the cost as duty. Also, to import, you need a license. Small businesses were not equipped to do that. So I was thinking what to do as we had less money to invest also. Many friends helped me at that time. Few companies allowed cash purchases below 1000 rupees and amounts more than that would be on credit. The credit period would be 4 to 5 months as cash would be paid only for the transactions below 1000 rupees. We focused on customers who provide such cash transactions. We would deliver on those with a bill of less than 1000 rupees. Every day we would get a bill for 1000 rupees. We would focus on customers like that for delivery as we had less cash on hand. Then a friend took me to Indian Bank. After meeting the manager many times, he finally sanctioned a loan of 5000 rupees. We then asked for 10,000 rupees, for which he said he can temporarily sanction 5000 rupees. At that time, you might not know, getting a loan from a bank was very difficult. The interest rate was 24%, but the bank will not sanction a loan easily at all. It was very difficult. The situation was not like how it is now. In the meanwhile, what happened was that a friend of mine, Mr. Shah from Bombay, who was having a packing carboy plastic cans business, contacted me. He asked me to help him get orders from a particular company. I said okay. I had some contacts there in purchase, who I knew from the time I worked in Precision Scientific. I told them that a friend was looking for an order. They said okay and spoke encouragingly. Then my friend sent some carboy samples. I got him the order. One day he asked me what I was doing. I told him that I had quit my job and am doing chemicals business. He suggested that I could buy acetic acid from him and sell it. I said okay. And he took me to meet his marketing controller. He also inquired about my business and offered to give the business to me. He said they already had 2 dealers but can provide to me additionally. But since we were a small company, he said we can take the product after paying the advance amount. First, I paid the advance for 99 kilos, 3 carboys by DD. They had the depot behind their office at Nungambakam. We went there and procured the product and supplied to Spencer's and other places. That was my small beginning. In 2 years, I became their major dealer. We were able to sell 150 to 200 tons every month. This gave me confidence. At one stage, they offered to give us credit if payment was an issue for us. They said they trusted me. At that time, the cost of acetic acid was 7,000 rupees. The new carboy packing material cost was 2 rupees. I had an idea of reusing old carboys by buying them from customers, cleaning it thoroughly, rinsing it with acetic acid itself, and then fill it up with acetic acid. I bought the used carboys from the market, washed them, painted it black, and neatly put the emblem after asking permission from the companies to give a fresh look. We used to send the carboys by lorries. The lorries had to carry the empty carboys to Trichy. It will be filled up there and will be transported back the next night. We did a small saving by making a deal with the lorry drivers. As the empty carboys did not weigh much, we proposed to the lorry drivers that when carrying the empty carboys, they can take other orders for heavy items like steel sheets or rods and put the carboys on top of them. One of my assistants would travel in the lorry and deliver the carboy at the company. Then the lorry would deliver the steel orders and come back in the evening to load the filled carboys. Then they would transport the full load to us. This made the transport cheaper for us. The carboys cost was only 70 pice. So we did many frugal innovations like this. When we delivered to the customers, they were happy because we could offer the products at a lesser price. That helped greatly for the business to pick up. In the beginning, this was one of the reasons for me to earn profits. I got a lot of support from the company. At that time, we used to get the materials here and then send from here to Erode, Tirupur and Coimbatore. At that time, we could hire a lorry only if we get an order for 500 kg. The lorry drivers, however, had a problem. They were hesitant because when carrying 500 kg, if there was a leak, what will they do? The lorry drivers said, if you give us a full load, we will transport. They felt that if they were transporting textiles or something along with the chemicals and it leaked, it will be a problem. This was a big obstacle for us. Then I thought it over and decided to start a branch in Erode. Then we could transport from Trichy directly to there. Immediately I asked my brothers to look for a place and finalized a small place in Pallivalayam. We started unloading there. The customers were very happy. We bought 2 tricycles like how we bought here in Chennai. We recruited some people there. We used to deliver by tricycle to Kumarapalayam, Pallipalayam and Erode. That was good move because we saved on freight and customers were also happy. So that is when I first got the idea of having branches. We were forced to take that decision. Since this made our operations easy, we thought why we don't open in other places. Then we started branches in Madurai, Coimbatore and Tirupur. In the next 10 years, we established many branches. What I feel is, if a youngster is active, people are willing to support him. That was my situation. I have told many people that if you start a business before you are 30, the chances for your business to grow big are higher because you will not be scared and will have risk-taking mentality. If you are older, you will have a family and you will be averse to taking risks. This I felt was true in my life. At that time, generally, when I used to go out of station, I used to sign and give blank checks to my manager because suddenly there might be a need to give a check. So I would give the signed blank check to the manager or accountant. Then I thought, why should I sign and give? Instead, I can give them the authority to sign the checks themselves. So I gave them that authority. This was very important because at that time I had to sign a lot of checks, and with this decision I could avoid that completely. I was able to identify trustworthy people and also had a counter check measure in place, and they used to handle it completely. All this was very helpful for me. I got the agency contract of Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers. Their condition was that the advance should be paid before taking the materials. At that time, we had to sell 200 to 300 tons. We would not have the money on hand. So what we used to do was to take a DD for one load of materials. It would take 10 days if you send it by registered post. The company was in Bharuch, which was between Baroda and Surat. Then I got an idea. There used to be an Indian Airlines flight at 5 p.m. to Bombay. One of our employees would take the DD in a cover to the airport and request one of the passengers traveling in that flight to take it and give it to our person in Bombay, who would collect it from them. Since it was only a cover, it was not very risky. The employee would note the shirt that the passenger was wearing and would call from the ISD STD booth, which used to be there in the airport, our manager in Bombay, Mr. Deshpande, and inform him about the shirt the passenger was wearing and his name. The manager would take a placard with the name to the airport and collect it from the passenger. Then he would travel by the Baroda Express that night and reach the next morning. Once the lorry is loaded, he would come back and next day the same cycle would repeat. So there are people who are willing to work like that. They worked sincerely and with affection. I said at that time that the chemicals market is a seller's market. They would give agency only to known people. A manufacturer would give the agency contract only to their relatives or friends. At one stage what happened was, if anyone was surveying for chemicals, they started recommending us to them. For me, only these two agencies I got by trying. All of the rest contacted me for business. They would say that they are planning to give us their agency and why can't we take it? For example, in 1999, one of the managers at ExxonMobil, formerly called Esso, a major petrochemical company, contacted us. They are no longer operating in India, but are one of the largest producers of petrochemicals in the world. At that time, they were operating in India. The manager said he had inquired in the market and was informed by even our competitors that only pure chemicals will do all the safety and compliance regulations properly, and that it would be best to give the orders to us. He got an appointment with me and came to see me. He gave us the order. Today, ExxonMobil provides 20% of our business. This is an example of goodwill and how doing things correctly helped us. There are many examples like this. In 2008, due to the global financial crisis, we had loss because of material and had problems with stocks. Stock price decreased. Crude oil price decreased from $147 to $33. All the chemical prices dropped to half their price. The rupee went from 42 to 58. So including forex loss, we had major losses. Our net worth looked like it would become less than half of what it was. So in that situation, we analyzed what we should do to avoid such risks and decided to change our business model. At that time, bulk chemical was 80% of our business. So we thought how to do value addition. We started repacking and focused on specialty chemicals. By that time, my sons had joined the business. They joined in 2005. They started learning. They wanted to take the company to a greater level. The next generation thought a lot about competition. We implemented Oracle ERP and online accounting. This helped us greatly. The technology was useful for us. We implemented CRM. We computerized our operations in the 90s, but we did the computerizing without a lot of interest. In 2004, we implemented Oracle. All this was advantageous for the business. It was like a safety measure. In 2009, we decided to establish our Dubai branch as our overseas branch. First, we got some profits, and then it didn't go well. So we changed the model, moved to a smaller office, and started again. We started a unit in Kandla SEZ. I was a trustee in the Kandla Port Trust. When I went there, they told me there is a Kandla SEZ, which had a lot of export-oriented units. So I thought, why don't we establish a chemical unit? We did it for the first time there. One thing is, whenever we got a new opportunity in business, we used it. We never let any opportunity to go in vain. For example, in the beginning, when we were small, I went for something else, but I got the acetic acid agency. So, wherever there is an opportunity, we must use it. Now, after my sons have gotten into the business, they both are focusing on many things. I have experience and they have speed. So we are combining both and working together. Now we are focusing on manufacturing, R&D, and exporting what we manufacture. Currently, we are exporting whatever specialty chemicals we manufacture. In the future, chemical manufacturing will be one of our main focus areas. Similarly, we are planning to focus on value-added products, repacking, and specialty chemicals.
மேலும் நானே விகடன் யூடியூப் சேனல்ல வரப்போற பிசினஸ் மற்றும் ஃபினான்ஸ் சம்பந்தமான வீடியோக்களை உடனே பார்க்க இந்த வீடியோ கீழே உள்ள சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பட்டனை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க அண்ட் மறக்காம அந்த பெல் ஐக்கனையும் கிளிக் பண்ணிடுங்க.